Hello and welcome to the UnderPowered podcast, where even as busy adults, we still find time to game. My name is Shelby Stokes, and today my co-host is here, Casey Cool and Phil Karen. What's up, guys?
Hello. I'm back.
And joining us on this episode are Evan and Corbin Peterson, the masterminds behind the awesome YouTube channel, GamingBroductions. They are here. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
I know we've been saying GamingBroductions all day and night. I love the title. Totally into it. Well done, guys.
Very clean.
I mean, we're actual brothers in real life, so it's where the Broductions or the bro part of Broduction. So a lot of people might not know that, but yeah.
I had two theories. Either you were brothers or you were total frat bros, and you were just committed to the bro life. And I was like, okay, JRPG bros.
I gotta be real. I don't know how many people are leaning into the whole frat life thing as bros. I mean, maybe they're out there, but
I think it's a very short-lived window. I think if you're a 35-year-old frat-lived bro, that do you remember the show Workaholics?
Oh yeah.
So there's that episode where they meet Stan Halen. And they like start their own frat, and he's not actually a frat. Yeah. I think that's where the frat boy goes wrong at that point when you're.
Yeah, it's too much.
Too much.
You know, took it to an extreme level. It's too much.
Yes. Well, I know it's late your guys' time, so I have to. We just got done last month with JRPG July, and we were trying to get you on then, and we couldn't really connect. But I found your channel. You guys make really great videos. I want to tell you that first. I watched a bunch and really enjoyed them.
Thank you.
What made you start your channel? How did you guys begin this project?
So we actually started our channel like a long time ago, probably like 6 or 7 years back. But we only put out a couple videos. We had no clear direction. I think we did like a Super Punch Out review or something. But we were just younger, didn't really know what we were doing, kind of just winging it. So we gave up for a while. Then COVID happened in 2020.
And
yes. So we're going to be spending a lot more time inside. Might as well try to get this YouTube thing going. And this time around, we actually had a clear direction and kind of planned as far as like focusing on JRPGs and whatnot. The style of our videos have definitely kind of, I guess, changed as we've just gotten more experience putting out stuff. But we always knew we wanted to kind of focus on the JRPG niche.
Yes. Now, we always talk about what we consider a JRPG too. Like, I know you guys just made the awesome video about protagonists, and I was watching that today, and that's great. Do you feel like something like a Monster Hunter would be in vain for you guys too? Would that be considered JRPG for you? Or like Final Fantasy 14, where it's an MMO, but it's JRPG influenced.
Yeah, start branching out a little bit.
Yeah, stuff like that starts getting a little muddier, Monster Hunter at this point, probably not the style of game we would cover. Final Fantasy 14 could, we do cover Final Fantasy games, so
right.
That's definitely a possibility. We have talked about branching out kind of in the future, but as far as now, yeah, kind of more traditional JRPGs, action JRPGs, stuff like that.
Yeah. What was your background before the YouTube channel? Were you guys working in video editing and production, or?
So I studied film in college, so that's what I was doing for a living, and I had lots of different areas I would work in, from like sports broadcasting to like weddings to corporate stuff, things like that. And of course, COVID happened. And it's like, hey, Corbin, it's like, I guess it's a good time we can finally start to get into this, because work is slow. So that's when we started to really dive into it more.
Yeah, as far as me, I didn't really have a background in it. I mean, my background existed as far as just playing a lot of JRPGs and stuff.
Okay.
But I worked in like fitness and as a nutritionist and stuff, so not really related to anything I'm doing now.
Right.
But I've always had a huge passion for JRPGs, and it's talking about video games and RPGs in particular is something I've always really, really enjoyed. Some like message boards and forums, so it'd be fun to do it with YouTube, pretty much.
Now, who's the older brother?
I'm the older one.
Okay, so when you guys played JRPGs, because they're single player games, what were the fist fights like for the controller?
Honestly, It was fine though, because like, so obviously, mostly just single player, but honestly, I would watch him play and vice versa. Like, there was games I would play and he would just sit in the back and just kind of watch, and I would do the same as well.
Well, in Final Fantasies are 2 players, right? Final Fantasy 6 is. You can set that.
Yeah, some of them were, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't really get much into RPGs until like the PlayStation era.
Yeah.
Super Mario RPG was like my first one on the Super Nintendo. And
great game.
Oh yeah, amazing game for sure.
Yeah.
At that point, I didn't really know what an RPG was, though. I just thought it was like a different type of Mario game, and it wasn't until like PlayStation RPGs that I was like, oh wow, there's like a whole style of games that are exactly like this and stuff. But yeah, we mainly watched each other a lot, kind of just playing games. I remember watching him play Final Fantasy X and Chrono Cross and a lot of classics.
It's interesting.
22 and yeah.
So then the Super Nintendo is something you had to go back to, right?
For a lot of those, for a lot of like the classics. I remember I played Chrono Trigger for the first time in high school, probably about like 10 years after it came out or something. And that really blew me away because it was like up until then, I had a harder time getting into the older school RPGs kind of. And then Chrono Trigger was like a gateway for me where I just had such a good time with it that I wanted to check out like everything from that era at that point.
Well, Phil's playing Chrono Trigger because we do things from our backlog or anything currently that we've always wanted to try for the first time. He's been playing it like for the last few weeks on our stream. Nice. Phil, what's your experience so far with Chrono Trigger? How has it opened you to the JRPG genre?
Well, I had played some other ones in the past, and I was similar to you two, where I didn't really jump on until about the PlayStation. I think my first one was Final Fantasy VII, and honestly, what gave me the allure for Final Fantasy VII was that it was 4 discs, right? And so in my little kid brain, I was like, oh, this has got to be the longest game ever because it's 4 discs.
Right.
So for JRPG July, I was like, well, let's go with a classic that I missed. So I've been playing Chrono Trigger, and I told Shelby this last week. The game does something really well that when you have a game mechanic that kind of fixes an issue that everyone has a problem with, that it's only going to reinforce the experience, right? So, for me in RPGs and JRPGs, the thing that I hate the most is walking, right? Just like walking, traveling to really long distances and getting caught up and then feeling like I'm not using my time. Like the other morning when I was playing, right? I was just jumping. It was like a rough stream. The stream crashed and I was like jumping through time periods. I didn't know what I was doing. And I felt like I only have an hour and a half to play and I wasn't getting anything done. But Chrono Trigger does a really good job at like keeping everything really close together. So like all of the map locations are 5 seconds away from each other. Yeah. And even the time to travel, like if you're going to another time period is like 15 seconds, as opposed to like, if I was playing a game like Final Fantasy VII and I didn't have a vehicle or I didn't have a chocobo or something like that, I would have to travel for 10 minutes to a city. And then I get to the city and I find out there's nothing for me to do there. And then I go, well, I wasted my entire time to play. And I felt that way as a kid too, because as a kid, I had heavy restrictions placed on me for gaming. So I was allowed, an hour or 2 hours a weekend. So if I didn't maximize my time, then I would just abandon the game, which is why I played fighters or other things where I got more out of it at that time.
Right. I was watching you and I could see I'm like, oh, I get it now. Because I loved it. We were talking about you playing Zelda, but you're kind of one of those gamers where it's like, this is, and Shelby is sometimes the same way. It's like, give me the checklist, give me the thing to do. I don't give me too many options because the options can be overwhelming, right? Is that?
Listen, time is money, baby. Like we need to get through this, okay? Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's true, and it's also like, right, I always look at it from a realistic perspective of like, it's the end of the world. Like, I'm not going to be going on some side quest to save this cat during like when the
world save the cat. What kind of person are you?
When the world is ending. But I will say to you too, here's my question for you. I was looking at your YouTube channel, and first, a huge congratulations. Number one, I think if there was any bright spot at all to COVID, it's that a lot of creative people had time to really focus in on, let's just like get the reps in and just like do the repetition of making a bunch of things and kind of figure out our niche. I know that I was doing the same thing when I wasn't working either. And I was just like, what am I going to do? And I was writing a lot and I was able to put in repetitions over a year and actually develop my skills. But what was the first video for you guys that really did numbers for you? And then you woke up in the morning, you were like, wow, this is going to become something really big. And how was that?
It was probably that Squaresoft in the 90s video. I think we put that out probably about a year into our channel, maybe like a little year after or something. But it kind of started off just like a normal video. It was doing a little bit better. Then like a week or two later, it just like started really picking up to where
it was around Christmas time too. Was when it happened.
Yeah, it was around Christmas time, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, it's going. Number go up.
Because
well, I mean, you kind of wake up, right? And then you're looking at the analytics and you're like, because I know that we posted one the other day, and for us, like 2,000 was a big number. And I woke up and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like, it was freaking me out. Like, oh, we have 2,000 views on a video. So I can only imagine like waking up and looking at that analytics, like, what is going on here? Like, well, who is watching this? You know what I mean? So congratulations to you two.
Thank you. It's definitely like an exciting feeling because like at that point, I think we probably weren't even getting like 1,000 views on like a video. Like we'd maybe get like 1,000 or something.
Right. I'm looking at your progression and it's crazy. Like, and then your first video is actually not JRP. It's Super Punch Out.
Yeah. So that's when we had our channel like 7 years ago.
A little rougher, but hey, guys, you know.
And it's cool that you guys left that video on there. Like you didn't be like, oh no, that was an old thing. No, that wasn't us. We weren't doing like you just left it on there. It's like part of your creative process and just like, hey, that was part of the journey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a little relic to look back on for sure.
Yeah. So what I'm curious, what are some ideas you guys are working on for video? Or how long does it take you to produce and edit a video now?
The last one we did probably took about a couple of weeks, I would say, with the writing, the narration, the editing, just structuring the whole video and the sounds and things like that. And because we want to get one out a little bit quicker. But like the Enix one, that one took like a while, like what, 3 weeks to a month, maybe Corbin?
Like a month, yeah. Like
it was over an hour long.
As our channel's growing, you know, we've kind of been more, I guess, motivated to increase our quality and stuff, and that means kind of
you can see it too in the videos.
Thank you. Yeah. So we've kind of been taking a little bit more time with our editing and narration and all that stuff. So I'd say a video could take anywhere from like 2 weeks to a month, depending on the type of project, I guess.
Yeah.
Some are a little bit more in depth than others and stuff.
I mean, the last piece of content I watched from you guys was the 10 JRPG protagonists. And I was impressed with the amount of like attention to detail and just asset management and accumulation you guys had gone through. Just to get all of those assets in one place is really like holding up the genre in its entire form. And the amount of different games that you mentioned and then the care that went into it was notable and it was really impressive. So I commend you guys on that video specifically, and I know there's a lot of quality content here just looking through your catalog.
Yeah, and if anybody's looking, it'll obviously be in our description for those that are listening to the audio of this. So are there any ideas that you're still ruminating with, or is there anything that's been scrapped that you want to go back to? Like, we wanted to do this, didn't quite work out, let's go back to it.
So there are certain video topics that we've kind of had the idea for a while, but we kind of want to wait until we're a little bit bigger. We feel like if we release some of them, they kind of just may get lost in the mix for now. So we're trying to focus on some content ideas that we think has a good chance of seeing some decent numbers. Granted, it's like stuff we want to make still, but it's stuff that we think can also potentially sit well in like the algorithm and whatnot.
Right.
Like our Squaresoft in the 90s video.
That was huge.
Hundreds of thousands of views right now, which is way crazier than we ever thought. So we're working on like an Atlas in the 90s, kind of as like another similar style, just a different company to focus on.
Do you guys think you'll do any like Let's Plays where people will watch you play JRPGs? Have you thought about doing any of the live streaming at that point?
I mean, if we did, it'd probably be on a different channel. But I don't know if we keep it on our current channel. We'd probably have it just separate. So,
or Gaming Productions on Twitch, you could do that, right? Something.
Yeah.
Like that
Right. So yeah, it's definitely something I've thought about. You know, like it would just be kind of fun. I'm already like playing like the games like anyway, so might as well play in front of people, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, we thought about getting into Twitch or.
Then your wife doesn't get mad at you or your significant other, like, no, I'm doing this for money, dear. I have to play these games. Hey.
I do have to, like, you know, I have been saying, like, you know, I'm playing this video games kind of part of my job now in like a way. So it's kind of an excuse just to just play.
How does that go over? Does that actually is that well received, or is it like no, I see through it?
A little bit of both, you could say. So,
yeah, you guys have partners at home or you?
I'm single right now.
Okay.
I started dating someone pretty recently, like a couple months ago. So she's still learning the extent of how deep
nerdy you are.
RPG and video games I am. So
How deep this is.
See, we're all married and dads, so like it's
okay, cool.
And so like
Nice.
our thing is like, well, we can play with our kids or we do certain things to get time with gaming. And
What
so,
Casey's saying is we can't conceal our nerdom anymore.
Yeah,
they
have to know it's
That's
out.
the bag, man.
Gotcha.
Right. It is what it is, you know.
So when you two go into the research phase of making these videos, because obviously these videos are like very well researched, and like Shelby was saying, you put a ton of facts and compile a ton of information. What does that look like for the two of you? Do you sit down and go, okay, we have this idea, and then get out a pen and paper and write down every single thing that you want to cover? Or what does the research part of it look like for you guys?
I would say like, we're brothers. So him and I think very similar, and we kind of know how we think. So like he knows how I'm gonna edit something. And I know how he's gonna maybe say something. So I kind of already have something's already, planned out. But Corbin does a lot of the research, and he does the narration, the writing, and I take care of the editing and the sound, and of course the filming as well. So when we combine together, though, we just kind of like have this unspoken kind of like language. We kind of just know what is going to happen. But once I hear Corbin's audio, it's just, things start coming to my mind how to piece things together. Because, I play a lot of these games as well. Corbin's played more than I have, but, I know a fair amount, like, what he means exactly. And of course, he'll come in and like fine tune things as well to add his 2 cents. So it makes it all very coherent, like, unified video.
Are there any things that the two of you do to sort of avoid burnout? Because I know one of the things that we talk about over here, especially with our busy lives, like having kids and like wanting to work on these projects and want to do all these things, it's like there's the need to like put out content a lot. And how do you feel as someone who's like put out some big time videos that have got real numbers about, like, do you think about burnout? Is it something that you just naturally enjoy? Do you just pace yourself with a project over the course of 3 weeks, or how do you keep that consistency going?
I would say, well, first of all, like, we're very passionate about the content, so that just makes it easier to kind of avoid burnout. But with that said, burnout is kind of inevitable for everything if you're just putting in a crazy amount of hours. So that's why we kind of have been taking our time a little bit more with our like videos, kind of going for the quality over quantity approach to kind of avoid burnout and just overall give more quality and polish. So yeah.
I have a question for you.
What's up?
So whose influence was it that put Yakuza Like a Dragon's Ichiban Kasuga so high on the top of the list?
That was me.
That was him.
Yeah.
You are my favorite. I absolutely saw that and got
badass.
Like, I was giggling to myself because I'm not a big JRPG, and that was person. I'm not a big JRPG person, and this one grabbed me, and I was like, I love this character. Like, how come people aren't talking about this guy?
Yeah,
and then when I saw it pop up in your 2 spot, I was like,
like, I initially kind of had him lower when I was thinking of like the list, but then like the more I thought about it and stuff, I was like, I don't know if I should let nostalgia play such a big factor into some of these rankings. Like, it'll play a little factor for sure, but I was like, someone as recent as Ichiban, granted, I haven't had like years and years for him to like stick with me. He like just made such a really good first impression that, kind of like you said, like, he's just such an awesome guy. Like, how can you not love this dude, So
yeah. I was just
awesome
blown away. Like, I was giggling to myself the entire time. So mad props. And like the amount of gaming research you guys had to do, or just like, I was so impressed at the depth in which JRPGs. Like, are there any that you're in your mind thinking, this is one that I need to get to, or do you feel like you've pretty much felt the majority of the JRPGs in the space?
I mean, I've played definitely, I guess, most of what you could probably call like the classics and stuff like that. But there's still like a good amount of games out there that are considered very good that I haven't gotten around to yet is mainly on certain systems, like a lot of the Sega Saturn RPGs I haven't really gotten around to. Some of those are like crazy expensive now, like $500 or more or something. So,
when are you going to do the worst protagonists? When are you going to do the other side of the coin? And like, who do you think is maybe a bad protagonist? Because then you're talking about bad JRPGs, right?
Right.
I play bad games.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting topic. I feel like topics like that can be a little more controversial because you may be hating on someone's like favorite character or whatever. So some comments,
which is so fun.
Yeah, right. You know, some people are very passionate about their games and comments and like characters and whatnot. So we've kind of almost avoided doing top 10 lists for a while just because some people can get a little upset based on how you rank stuff. But ultimately, that doesn't really matter. You know, it's just
and you did the right thing to give honorable mentions both in the front and the back. Like you kind of peppered them through. You talked about ones that people would complain about, like, oh, my cloud's not in here. You know, you guys like addressed you almost got in front of the complaints. And I don't want to derail this conversation, but big ups to Hunter Pot Pie, our first sub since being Twitch affiliates. So way to go, Hunter. We appreciate you. So Corbin, Evan, you were here for the first sub. So when we're big time, you got to come back.
Iconic moment.
Exactly.
Those on top games.
Well, and what I like about the protagonist video, to get us back to there too, it's not like Cloud. It's not like people that everybody says too, right? You got a lot of that too. And like, I think we can all agree Titus would be on one of the worst 10 characters, right? Or Titus, whatever you want to say.
He's definitely a love or hate type of person.
Yeah,
I feel like I see very polarizing opinions on him.
And cut to the cringe laugh right there. That would be the cut, right? That would be the polarizing. No, I fully agree. People really like him or don't. What are some games you guys are playing right now? Like that are you playing anything because now that you do it for work, what do you play do you play things that aren't JRPGs for fun, or what's in your guys' log of games?
I was just playing something different.
Go on,
Apex is what I was just playing and just got a win just right before this as well. So all right, cool.
Nice.
Podcast, let's go. So
Shelby's been playing Fortnite and he's been promoting his battle royale wins in our Discord. And I've been asking him if it's bots still or not, but is Apex full of bots?
I think I've seen them.
I haven't really noticed it. I mean, granted, I guess I don't know for sure.
Don't play like the highest tier, but
yeah.
So I kept getting wiped in Apex, but the first couple of rounds is like when it first came out and it was the hotness. And I was like, oh yeah, I can win a few of these. So it could have been bots or it could have just been everybody was so noob at that point that I actually got a win. But Apex was my first battle royale and big fan.
Yeah, it's fun. I still, just casually I'll get online with Evan and we have another one of our friends that we'll like squad up with. So I'll play that every now and then. As far as like RPGs and stuff that I'm playing, I've been kind of playing some older like games as of recent, nothing that new. Currently I'm playing through the first Star Ocean game. Star Ocean 6 is coming out later this year and we may plan some content with the older Star Ocean games leading up to that one. So I'm starting with one now. Probably going to play.
Are you doing the remake of it that they have for like Switch?
I'm just playing the original Super Famicom version.
Wow.
The translated one, obviously. But yeah,
it's First Departure, right? First Departure R is the remake of it, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That was kind of done in the style of like Star Ocean 2, as far as like the graphics and the combat and stuff.
Star Ocean 2, that's a game I played in high school because a friend mentioned to me. In Giant Bomb, there's a guy who has it on his top 10 games every year. Because there's so much still to uncover in that game. Like there's all these different plausibilities and like the new gameplay. You can get to level 999, which is unheard of, for a JRPG.
Right.
That game goes places.
I've always said it's like a very ambitious game that was ahead of its time in a lot of ways. I feel like with certain mechanics and just how much stuff they stuffed into that game essentially.
Yeah,
it's probably like for sure. It's always hard to give exact rankings, but it's probably like a top 5 PS1 RPG for me. That system had so many classics, between the Final Fantasy, Xenogears, Grandia, Wild Arms, list goes on and on.
Yeah.
So
I know the PS1. There's some PS1 ones I missed that I need to get back to. I've been JRPG'd out because I just finished Triangle Strategy. When I say finish, I mean I did every ending. I got every character.
Oh, wow.
I did everything because I'm a masochist. I'm just like to torture myself.
Right on.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for you, Casey, on that you have the patience to go through and do every side quest and unlock every item.
It's why I'm a teacher too, because I'm an incredibly patient person. Like, you get all these questions every day. No, it's that game did a lot for me, but I don't even know if it'll be my game of the year, to be honest with you. I really enjoy it. I have 144 hours into it. And
wow.
I did, and like the thing that took really hard was I did hard mode for the final, like the perfect run, because I'm stupid, and it's a game that because I like D&D and I've always liked choose your own adventure and I like consequences to your actions, but you can really see the consequences if you do one of the runs, and then if you do the golden run second, you still get to see. You don't have to do what I did. I'm kind of looking like somebody, don't like that Michael Jordan meme. Stop it. You're hurting yourselves. Just say no. It's a beautiful game, and it does some things. Like, do you remember the movie Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher back in the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
Classic.
I like that movie. People like to dunk on me for that. And I think it's a well-shot movie, but I always stuck with me because I saw it when I was in high school, and you think about consequences for your actions. Like, well, what if I did this instead of that, right? And the big thing that stuck with me in this game is that you get to see the play out. Like, oh, if I did this versus this, you can kind of live out those lifestyle choices. But like in D&D, your choices have consequences. Like, they're weighted. There's this one sequence where if you burn down the village earlier, the people in the town will come talk to you and be like, oh, that was my house, and it changes the ending for you. Where if you go through the game the next time and don't burn it down, it can unlock other things. And it's a really good game. I think people if you're a JRPG fan, you should definitely buy it. I think it would be a buy, but it's something that I don't think it's a must own. I think there's a lot of other great JRPGs on there, but if you like, and here's the other thing, it's a lot of talking. It's a great grid feel, really good talk, but it's a dialogue. It's a very story driven game, and
I think Shelby can quote me on this. Like, if I get too many dialogue boxes, I'm spamming square right through those.
See,
like, oh man,
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, there's got to be some combat around,
right? The story's good though. The story's good. We had Parker Simmons on a couple weeks ago, and he talked about the voice acting didn't need to be there. The story's intriguing, and I fully agree. You don't need the voice acting, but once you see it twice, you kind of like, okay, I get it now, right? Like I see the depth. They did a good job. I still think this like 2D HD style Octopath is still my favorite to do that. And then I have Live Alive like in my queue of games to play, but I don't know if I'm ever going to get to that.
I mean, I think if you're going to get to it, now's the year, right?
Right. But it's a definite buy it. I think people should try it. And I think I personally need a JRPG break, to be honest with you, because of this. I'm like, all right, let's slow it down,
I hear that life for sure. Like, I mean, I think the JRPG July has been awesome, but at
Yeah.
the same time, like, it's nice to kind of taste different genres as well.
Playing Mohan was fun with you, even though I got owned when we got.
Yeah, you did. I mean, for someone that was going to quote unquote carry us through the match, you did die.
Here's what I hate about this: you don't get to see your damage in that game, so you know who's carrying. There's not like hey, this person was like top damage, because
I mean, I saw you take a lot of damage, if you know what I mean.
Also true. This is also true.
Where they were carting you away. I mean,
yeah.
Get good. Capital GUD. Okay?
Yes, I have to get good. Do you guys have any games you play together on the regular, Corbin and Evan? Like, oh, hey, it's Friday night, or get together. Like, I know you said Apex, but anything between you two? Where's the brother competitiveness in gaming? I want to know. Like Mario Kart, there's got to be something.
Pretty chill, pretty casual, like co-op games.
Yeah, we usually play more together on teams. Like before Apex, we played a lot of Overwatch. We did play some Fortnite for a while too. Never got super into Fortnite though. He was definitely more of an Overwatch guy and stuff. So we played that a lot. Obviously, as we were kids, we played a lot of Mario Kart, like you said, GoldenEye. A lot of the multiplayer classics from that era.
Yeah.
What was the game
there
last year? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not at all. Go ahead.
What was the game last year, Corbin, we beat for the SNES? It was a Secret of Mana, or it was like not.
Oh yeah, we beat Seiken
Detsu 3?
Detsu 3, yeah.
It's Childs of Mana. Yeah.
Right. It was right before they announced that they were like making an English like port or whatever, you know.
But the English port's only one player, so you guys got the better experience.
Oh really?
I have it on Switch. I got it for $20, and it's super fun. And they did a lot of like quality of life improvements. But have you guys ever played Secret of Evermore?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think there's something like the best JRPG pets too, because that's got to be. I'm just trying to give you guys like ideas. Yeah, dude, it's a boy and his dog story. Everybody loves the boy and his dog story.
Right. That's funny you mentioned that, because we have thought about doing a video about like animal companions or pets in RPGs or something like that.
Yeah,
that's a video we're kind of waiting to kind of grow a little bit more, because I don't know if that would, sit really well in the YouTube algorithm and whatnot. Some of our more like unique video ideas, like that, I feel like our subscribers like them, but they just don't really hit as many views as some other like content ideas. But we definitely want to do that at some point.
It's really random. Shelby put a video of him talking about cupcakes and Hitman, and that was apparently a hitter. I was like, oh yeah. But Hitman's Shelby, like, how far are you into Hitman?
I just beat Hitman 2, so I'm playing Hitman 3, and if you have heard, cool. If you have not, now you know that they put all of the Hitman maps from the 2016 reboot of Hitman 1, Hitman 2 are all in this Hitman 3 package. So I've played through the first 2 games by way of Hitman 3, and I'm liking it. It's good. It's a lot of fun to just sneak around. It's ridiculous at times. You know, like you walk into situations where you're just a bald guy and he's pretending to be like a drummer out of nowhere, and people are like, yeah, that's the guy, totally.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I watched it, and you were in some like theater, and there was like tons of people, and they were burning someone at the stake, but you weren't killing the person. I was like, what's going on there?
It was brutal. So that was a bunch of billionaires who were on an island trying to manipulate energy prices for the common man. So now you're tasked with murder.
And what I think is so funny is that your play style, Shelby, speaks so much to who I am as a person, because you're exactly like me in that you walk into one of these games, and I think this is probably where the game has a bunch of replayability, right? Which is that people can use, there's all these different ways, like you are on rails a little bit, but like there are all these different ways that you can get to the same objective. But you're just like me, you walk in and you start off trying to do things like in the way that the game wants you to. It's like, oh, we're gonna pick up this disguise, and then we're going to pick up this poison, and then the game eventually devolves into you throwing a wrench at every single person on the map until the map is clear, and then you just finish the level. So
have you guys seen?
It speaks to me.
Evan, Corbin, have you guys seen Hitman? Have you seen people play?
Which one is the one where you can throw a suitcase and it flies?
That's this one. Yeah.
yeah.
Because like, what's up with this? I never understood it though. But
I've seen like clips of the game, and like one of my friends got like really into Hitman 2, I think, back in the day. So I've heard good things about it. I've just never personally played it myself.
It's been on my backlog for a while. So I played through a little bit of Hitman 1 back in the day, bounced off of it really hard, and then people just continue to talk about the second and third one. So it's like, okay, they re-released it, I'm just going to hop in there and do it. So by the end of the year, I will have all 3 of those Hitman games completed. I am now on Hitman 3, and there's 6 maps in total, so it's doable.
Do you think of a Hitman now as like one experience that way to play it? Like, is it just the Hitman, or are you distinct like one is very different than 2, or do they all kind of flow?
I mean, it's hard for me to say based on the fact that I've played the first 2 games in the Hitman 3 engine. So they all feel very similar. I'm sure there's been quality of life improvements over time, but I don't remember much of a huge change between mechanics between 1 when I tried that back in 2016 when it released and this year. What I will say is that they have gotten a lot better at building those levels. So you can see the evolution of like the system they put in place in the beginning, and they're trying things out. And by the end of the first game, you're like, okay, they went places. And in that second game, they start playing with different concepts and almost trying to break the system or pushing it to its limits with the different paths you can take. And I imagine they're only going to push that envelope even further in this third installment of maps. So I'm enjoying it way more than I thought I would. The story is pretty good. Like, it's not the reason to play Hitman, but it's
the
also
reason to play is murder, and I'm there to see when I watch.
So
I walked in,
throw muffins at people, baby.
Yeah, it's so creative. That's what I want to see, though. I want to see like the goofy murders. I'm like, yeah. You're walking through, like, killed. There was that lady with the weird haircut, and I was waiting for you to push her down the stairwell or something, because she straight up watched you ice somebody, and she didn't scream either. She just kind of looked at you and kept like, I was like, is the game broken?
I would have to say that one of my favorite segments is when I was in the Bollywood level and there's this lady like yelling at her employees on a bridge. There's like 40 people down below looking up at her. And I just like kind of get far away and throw an iron from like probably 10 to 15 yards away. It pings her and then she falls off the bridge and dies. And it's like, mission complete.
That's hilarious.
Destroy rings, baby. Let's go.
Yes. Well, I think, talking about complete, I think we need to kind of complete this and move into our news for the night, if that's okay with you all.
Speculation news.
I saw last week, Shelby, you spamming.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go.
I want to talk about our first story tonight. What do you guys think is a lot of money?
$30.
$30 is a lot of money. What about $17.5 billion?
That's
a little bit more money.
A little bit more than
you do a lot with that.
Yeah, I think I'd be okay. I think I could think about retiring if I had that much. No, so Unity, the Unity program is trying to be bought by App11, which is I was like, what is App11? I had to go for that first. So has any of you ever heard of App11?
I had not. I had to look them up.
Yeah, not off the top of my head. Yeah.
I was very, very like in my head subconsciously thinking of Mick Levin from Superbad the whole time. I was like, oh, he made an app? Cool, good for him.
Like format and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so today in Unity news, Unity struck a $1 billion deal with a joint venture in China. And part of the venture, which are called Unity China, it's TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, and Alibaba. But this is a big merger. Unity's a big program that a lot of people want to use. And they're calling it 20, but I read it was 17.5 billion.
And this video we're referencing here is from TechCrunch, by the way.
Yeah, TechCrunch.
Yeah. So yeah, they're going in and making a proposal by Unity is what it looks like. And if you don't know what Unity is, it's a game designing software.
It's like the game designing software, right?
It is, yeah. Pokemon Go, Animal Crossing, Call of Duty, just to name a few, and that kind of shows you the breadth of what they have there. Unity also made some pretty smart moves in the last 5 years where they allowed creators to put assets on a store and sell them to other creators.
And they can just put them in their games, right?
Yeah, it's fostered a lot of really good integration with game devs from what I've seen out in the community. So Unity has some skeletons in their closet. You've heard them or seen them in the news in the past, but a $20 billion acquisition of Unity does not surprise me.
See, I was surprised. I didn't know about any of the issues with Unity going on.
I mean, it was a couple years ago, and I can't even speak to them offhand, but I know that they had some bad press that was coming out. So I'm sure the internet will have their pitchforks for them at some point.
As they always do.
You're right. But I mean, it is a cool concept in regard to what they're doing for the gaming industry. I don't know a ton about App11, admittedly. I mean, from what I read, it's kind of a shadow company out of Palo Alto, and there's so much money moving through that Palo Alto area that it wouldn't surprise me that an acquisition's coming out of the bay.
Well, it's like Google and Alphabet, right? Where it's like, oh, Alphabet owns this, and then Google, to me, it's really surprising too. When I saw that, I was like, only 20 billion, because in my mind, I'm still thinking of the $70 billion acquisition of Activision, right? So now I'm a little worried in my head about how desensitized I am to these numbers.
Right? Just 70 billion. Whatever.
Yeah.
Casually. Yeah.
Well, like as a kid, you think $1 million. Like I still think $1 million. Hell, I think 10,000. I think $100 is a lot of money. Right. I'm like, yeah, all right, awesome. So to see this kind of money be thrown around, it's wild. to me.
It really is.
I don't know how I feel about if for developers, if this affects them in any way. But what's something that does affect someone is, I don't know if you guys have been following the NFL. My favorite thing, NFL, I'm a football coach too, and NFL season's upon us. But the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray, he is the quarterback. If you did not know, for the Arizona Cardinals, he's a big time Twitch streamer. And the big controversy in the last few weeks was he got offered a contract extension for, I believe, $250 million, but they put in a clause. And it was like, you have to study film for 4 hours and not can't be on your phone, can't do this. Basically, it was them like, you can't play video games because he streams, right? And oddly enough, too, now people have dove into his streaming, which I think he has about 80,000 followers on Twitch. He plays worse. He's a Madden guy and a Call of Duty guy, right? And he's not bad, but he plays really bad on Double Weekend. People have gone in and researched that. And then the big thing that's really embarrassing at press conferences, they've had to go and talk and be like, hey, what's the deal with this clause? He's like, it's really offensive. They don't think I study film. But my favorite thing is the memes. So Kyler Murray is the shortest quarterback in the NFL. And every comment, he's 5'8" or 5'9". And the comments are like, hey, after you eat your vegetables and do your homework, you can play your video. It's all you're a little kid memes about him.
The internet.
The internet's wild.
No chill for sure.
No chill at all, man.
But do you think asking to study film for 4 hours and not play video games is a big deal to have in your contract?
I mean, it should be expected because, dude, you play pro football and you're getting paid a lot of money. So, you should probably, do your job. And, someone shouldn't be like, hey, don't play video games. You got a game tomorrow, or you got, workouts tomorrow. It's just
And he's not missing workouts. And statistically, so they kind of collapsed in the playoffs, and everyone, the news was he's a finger pointer. So they tried to put all the blame on the quarterback. And he played pretty bad that playoff game. Yeah. So I think there's some backlash to that. But the video games were the focal point to it. And then so all the gamers were like, well, let's go look at his stats. And he's not playing on game day. He's not playing the night before a game. But there are stories where he's left to go oh, I'm going to go game with my friends. That's more important to him, which, there's the other quarterback that's in big trouble with the law because of his time at massage parlors. I'd rather have my quarterback be in trouble for playing video games than trying to find somebody to help him out.
Right?
Yeah,
video games, man.
Pro athletes should have hobbies too,
right.
As long as it's not interfering with their practice, training, or whatever, they all have to go home for the night and unwind and relax in some way. So if you want to play games, then go.
Shelby, are you pulling up his stats right now?
No, I'm pulling up what he's being compensated, because the question becomes, would you take $12.6 million to stop playing video games?
Yeah. For a football season. Listen, here's the other thing though. Right. Long game, he can play video games a lot longer than he can play football. So if he really
true.
I think that this is the more interesting part of the story is that this is actually quite common amongst a lot of athletes across a bunch of different sports, is that a lot of them are getting into streaming and playing sports, and as esports, right, as various competitive games kind of rise up, you see this sort of crossover where people are going exactly what you're saying, Casey, where they're going, I can play Madden, I can play 2K, I can play Smash way longer on my body than I could play in the NFL. And especially, for me, I always think back to when the very first time I saw a video game where people got really paid, which was when Dota 2 came to Seattle.
Oh yeah, the internationals.
I regret not going to that and having the experience.
There are less head in the chat. There's less head injuries in esports too. I agree. Only mild.
Yeah. So when it came 6 years in a row to Seattle, and that first year, 10 years ago, it was $1 million for first place. And then Valve was really smart, right? And they doubled down on their documentary that they made about the tournament, free to play. That documentary, if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. Super motivational. But now you have all these athletes going I've seen tons of them just oh, I could play in this tournament. I can go do this. I can make $1 million here. So now you're getting some siphoning of the talent pool, and esports is kind of drawing some of these people over. Well, if I'm either going to sit on the bench all season, or I could be a third string third string
quarterback,
player,
right? Well, yeah,
that's
I
right.
mean, I third string quarterback, third string like backup kicker, clutch job.
Yes.
Like just show up, you know.
Super chill. The chillest job you can.
Yeah. My
Steady
running
pace,
gag with my
yeah.
football players is you want to know the sign of a good kicker, and they're like, "What? No one talks about them." That's when you're doing well, you know. But
Well, I mean, back to the story. I don't think that they're out of line to ask him not to play video games. Like, I
Right.
think he's played, way too much money to catch a ball and run in a circle. And
he throws the ball.
Okay, I mean, but the point is, he's throwing or catching a ball, and he's compensated a ton of money, like top 1% in America, I would imagine. So I mean, like, if they want to say, hey, don't play video games for X amount of months, because football lasts what, 5 months?
It's September to January.
January.
So 9 months.
No, public school education.
September to
October, November,
January.
December. That's five
January is different than June, in case anybody's wondering.
Yeah,
so 5 months is
maybe
what
February if you go to the ship.
But point being, like, if you have to take a half year off a video game, so be it. And then if you play in the off season and you'd rather do that, then say goodbye to your contract. But these sports organizations are pouring a ton of liquid asset into these players to make these work, and they're just trying to ensure their asset doesn't show up broken. I mean, it'd be the same thing if Dennis Rodman was going and getting drunk in LA for a long time.
Haven't you seen the documentary where Jordan had to go get him out of a hotel? He went on a 10-day bender, and Jordan's like, come to practice. And he left. And I guess Carmen Electra was hiding under the sheets, and she heard him. He's like, he was mad. And like Rodman, they still, that was a different era before
So counterpoint, Kyle Murray should go to his coach and be like, look, here are your options. I'm going to play video games, or I'm going to go get drunk in Vegas and make a fool of you.
Right. No.
Well, and then, so just to wrap this story up, do you want to take a guess what last year's international, how much money was invested in the last year's international?
30 million.
10 million?
How much?
30 million.
That's close. What do you think, Casey?
I said 10, so I was under.
Okay, Shelby, what do you think? How much without looking it up?
The top prize for TI?
Yeah, just the tournament, like investment total.
Oh, total investment, like 500 million?
Oh, I mean, winnings.
50.
Winnings.
More
than 50.
40.
40 is the right answer. 40 million prize pool. Yeah, 40 million prize pool.
41.
Wow.
No,
I busted.
Well, no, esports there's a big esports weekend this weekend too. It was Evo. That's what I was trying to tell. So I sent Shelby like it was Evo this past weekend. And it's been Evo has been under a lot of controversy. It got COVID had stopped it. They tried to do the online one. The original person who ran Evo was he got canceled for right reasons because he was abusing his power and doing some inappropriate things. So now this is the first Evo without Smash in a long time because Sony bought it. And I watched. Did you guys get to watch any of the Evo finals?
I did not.
No, I did not.
I'll see the highlights.
Yeah, I'm an Evo guy because it was it's one of the first esports that was really on ESPN. People forget that the Street Fighter Championships have been on there for a long time, at least unlike ESPN 8, the Ocho. But what do you think the payout is for the Street Fighter?
Street Fighter.
Yeah, Street Fighter 5 is the big game in Evo.
15 million.
15 million for the person that wins it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 7 million.
7 million. Okay.
Yeah, my guess is 10.
5.
Okay. Hold on. I'm pulling it up. I'm gonna let you guys know that no. I know this. It's less than a million. It's not in the millions. It's like in the hundreds of thousands.
Oh, really? So I was way off, man.
You guys are way off. Street Fighter because it's not a team. It's not a team. It's an individual, right? So they got sponsored for it. Evo.
Dota's only groups of 5 though.
Yeah, but that's going to the teams, going to the sponsor. Street Fighter is 1v1. Like it's
and I guess it was prizes in general too.
Right.
Well, and
40 million
also
prizes.
the way that Dota derives their prize pool is like most of the money that they make. So Dota 2 is free to play, right? The entire game is free to play. Most of the money that they get from their prize pool in Dota is done from the battle passes and the different, however much people spend on the game throughout the year. A portion of that goes towards the TI tournament.
Right.
So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Let's move on to our last story. Super Punch Out has a hidden 2-player mode, and you can use it on Switch right now. It looks like. Casey, are you giddy?
You could. I mean, I have it on the SNES Classic, but I think it's perfect because Corbin and Evan, that was their first video. If we want to go to a great callback, now I had a Berenstein Bear moment with this, and I was like, I thought I knew this. I think everybody knew this, and I'm trying to convince myself that this is not like. Because this is 30 years old, if you guys want to feel really old. This game came out, it's 28 years old. 2 years, it's 30. Yeah. But I feel like, I was like, I thought people knew that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I thought I knew this or I heard this. I had like the Berenstein Bears, you know, like, no, Berenstain Bears, right? No, Berenstein Bears. But maybe do you ever feel like that there's someone out there, like Seth Rogen did the Duck Hunt Secret years ago, right? Where he said something about Duck Hunt and everyone on the internet blew their mind. Do you guys remember this? Hold on. I'm not making this up.
Duck Hunt?
What was it?
Secret. I'm pulling it up right now because this was the thing. You could use the second play controller on Nintendo to control the duck.
Oh, wow. No, I did not know that.
Oh, I was unaware.
I knew that too. I knew that because my dad, when I played it with him, he'd be like, go grab the controller just so he'd think I would play. And then he realized because I was like 4 or 5, I was moving the duck. He's like, oh, you're actually doing it. I thought that was common knowledge too, but the internet freaked out. I feel like I'm waiting for someone to be like, I put a video out about this in 2010. And
call that shit. Yeah.
Why would they hide this? Like, if they actually had the ability to just have 2 players play this, why wouldn't they advertise that?
I don't know. It's weird. I kind of like this though too, where it's like 30 years down the line, the programmers like got them. Like they've been waiting, you know, like they're somewhere. It's co-op. Yeah.
Like I played Super Punch Out a lot back in the day. It was like actually I played Mike Tyson's Punch Out first, but I beat Super Punch Out first. I just had an easier time with it. But I played the time trial, trying to improve my best times and all that stuff. And I never played the 2-player mode. I don't know if I really knew of it, but regardless, I didn't try it or do it ever.
Yeah, I kind of want to go do it. I think it'd be a fun stream and to do like, hey, I'm going to play with my son and he's going to be Little Mac and I'm going to be whatever, like Bald Bull, obviously, or not King Hippo or the big lumberjack man and just wail on him.
Go to town on them. Yeah.
It's because probably no one read the manuals. That's true too. I feel like the manuals, that could have been in there.
I feel like they would have put, like, if it was in the manuals, we would have found out. This wouldn't have been a story otherwise, right?
Well, people freak out when they're like, oh, if you had the 4-player plugin on Secret Mana, you could play 3-player too, you know?
Yeah. One of the biggest, secrets I remember that, a lot of people found out after, this is probably, close to 10 years ago now, but I remember there was some, side quest in Final Fantasy IX that a lot of people found out about, 20 years after it came out.
Oh.
I forget exactly what it was. Evan, I'm not sure if you remember. I thought I remember sharing you that link a long time ago. It was on Kotaku, I think. I don't know.
Maybe.
It was some long, I don't want to say fetch quest, but it had a lot of gradual steps throughout the game that triggered at certain moments.
Okay, I think I recall a little bit.
Yeah, it was in one of the cities, maybe Lindblum or something. I don't know. I'm sure.
Oh, I saw this in Kotaku earlier too. It's like a weird dialogue, right? Oh, and they happened in Final Fantasy IX recently too, where you could get a secret subset dialogue. Someone finally unlocked it 20 years later. That's these things are happening now because people.
Yeah, it's crazy. The developers put so much extra stuff in this, in certain games that it's crazy that people are just now finding out about it decades later. It's like a testament to how much stuff really goes into these games.
Yeah. The thing is too, now everybody data mines games, right? So I'm always kind of surprised. I'm like, how come like no one's like gone back and looked at the files or the code? Like it's obviously something that's not in my skill house. I can't do that. But I'd be curious to know, like, hey, I want people to go back to more games now and do that, to be honest.
More games.
More games. More games are always good. But you know what else is good? I want to ask you, Shelby, and everyone in company tonight, what have you guys been watching, or what you watching? What you watching?
What you watching?
Do you like that? It looks like my cat. Do you like that? It looks like my cat, Shelby.
It looks like my cat.
Your cat's is a ginger cat.
Actually, my cat passed.
I'm just gonna make the
bringing it up.
Did it really?
Yeah, it did.
The observation that it looks like everyone's cat, because it looks like everyone has the same looking cat.
The brown and white cat, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. No, it's all good. What you watching? Said the kitty cat. So yeah, we sometimes watch shows, we sometimes talk about them. Normally we talk about a wife show or a show that you're forced to watch with your significant other or friend or family member. And then something that you actually want to watch. So if anything comes to mind, launch on in.
Yeah, in the chat. Corbin, Evan, what are you guys watching? Like, what's something that's piqued your interest? It could be a movie, TV, any recs for the people watching or listening.
What were we just watching?
Yeah, the most recent show we watched together was season 3 of The Boys.
Oh, yeah.
On Amazon Prime. Don't know if you guys are.
No, I've been waiting, and I need to do that. Boys is great.
Tell me, how far in did you get?
We finished it. Yeah.
Okay.
So we actually went back and watched that kind of animated spin-off series of it, Diabolical or whatever. We're watching that too.
Our buddy Parker did the whole Hootie and the Blowfish scene in the animated one. He's a voice actor animator, and he came on. And I was like, "So is Hootie and the Blowfish ruined for you?" He's like, "Yeah, I can't ever listen to it again because you're in that scene."
So what did you guys think? Did it live up to the hype for you?
The third season?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good season. You know, I'll try not to without spoiling obviously anything that happens at the ending. There was one episode in particular I thought was really, really awesome. You know,
did they leave it up for a season 4?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
I have my last week of summer vacation, and that's on my okay, I need to watch this next week because I know I will sit and go through the whole thing.
I'll say it's much better than I anticipated. I was like, okay, I don't know why I bounced off of this early season 2, but I watched it all and I would recommend it. So I'm even more impressed with it because superhero shows is such a crowded space right now, and I think they still did something pretty special.
I agree.
I think the actor that plays Homelander just does a very good job at making him just look unhinged and just totally
very tense,
unpredictable. You know, anytime he's on screen, you don't know if he's just gonna start blasting like everyone and just
Anthony
he has
Starr.
that hollow smile that he does so well.
He's very good with facial expressions. Yeah.
Well, just when he stares at the screen too, it's the eyes. It's when I look into his eyes, it's like I hear the Beatles for the first time. No, he really just kills it with that too, and the subtle smiles. You see all the clips go around too, where they use his reactions to when you
a lot of memes with them for sure.
Yeah, he's good. He's in some other show where he's a cop that there's a clip going around that I'm like, oh, I want to go because he's a really good actor. I enjoy watching him. I'm like, all right.
I'm afraid he may get I don't know if you'll be able to see him in any other role after seeing him in this one.
That's
kind of get typecast as Homelander. You can't imagine him as anyone else.
Just always a bad guy. He has to do just a pure comedy or something really off the cuff. That's where
he could work in a comedy.
Yeah. He's funny. He has funny parts.
He does have some funny lines in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I recently caught up on that, and I was really happy that I did. Another show that I'm catching up on that I'm behind on is Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, we watched that.
Just started that actually. I'm on season 1, episode 4. I'm like, all right, time to watch
this.
Just
started it. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It came out. When did it come out? It came out 2018. When did Stranger Things come out?
Maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
It
Yeah,
was a while back. I bet it was prior to 18.
Done 16. So my son was 1, and then my daughter was born 2 years later. And it's like, okay, I'll get to this eventually. But it's totally D&D. I do like that. I do like that. So is season 4
Hi, our first subscriber says I enjoyed Stranger Things season 4, but I'm not super excited for season 5. I just finished season 3, and I'm really hoping season 4 is better than season 3.
Everyone's really geeked out on
I
season
would
4.
be better than 3 personally.
Yeah, I would say season 3 might be my least favorite of all the seasons. I still enjoyed it, but I think
it's kind of like because all the seasons flow right into one giant overall story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of seems like season 3 is the down action that builds up to season 4's like insanity. Is what someone said to me. Like, okay, it's time.
Yeah, season 4 does do a lot of things differently, I will say. I guess maybe not everyone might like some of those changes, but it definitely takes things in a different direction, I feel like.
We got the contrarian in the chat. Season 3 was actually my favorite.
Oh, shit. All right.
Hunter, you're killing me, Small.
Obviously, mine is just
favorite.
Hunter. It's not a universal fact, but yeah.
Well, listen, I've already watched my 30 hours of this show. I'm going to finish it at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, might as well.
3 seasons. I mean, what's 10 more hours? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I am enjoying the ride. I guess the hype train has got me thinking it's here, and then maybe it's not hitting those same heights, but that's my own fault for getting excited.
What's your wife show?
The wife show.
A wife show, girlfriend show, boyfriend show, partner show. Everybody has a show they watch with their significant other that they maybe don't care for, but they secretly love, right? We all have it. We watch it because we actually enjoy it.
Oh my gosh.
It's QT time, but it's also like you can... I have a wife show that we're watching heavily right now.
So right now that the girls are... Go ahead. What do you have?
Southern Charm, which is on Bravo, and it's it's reality trash. It's
Bravo,
a soap opera.
All you need to say. No.
Yeah, Bravo. It's a soap opera. It's people that live in Charleston, and Charleston's kind of, my understanding, is a big little city or a little big city in a way. Like everybody's in everybody's business, but they're also like, you guys. Kansas is kind of considered like Southern in a way, right? With its like practicalities, but not like...
It's not true Southern, but it's like Midwest, kind of
Midwest
North, but it's like...
It's that Bible Belt. You guys don't have the full-on accent, but I don't think you actually have the same like they all hate each other, but then they'll go to parties with each other and pretend like nothing's wrong. And they're like, it's just how we do it in the South. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, I would not hang out with any of you. And it's wild. Obviously, they're getting paid, and you got to like if you watch on a TV or you study film or television, ever, it's like, okay, they're doing this because they want to incite, right? Like everybody loves hate, but it's mind rot for sure. But I love to just be like, oh man, that lady is such a trashy woman to my wife, just to rile her up and be like, I don't think Shep's that bad. Like I think Shep's fine. He's just living his life.
One Sunday we watched like 3 episodes of Is It Cake?
That was big in my house for a while too.
And I hated myself after I finished it. I was like, I am the problem in America. Why did I sit here and not only watch it, but let my family watch it as well?
How often could you guess if it was cake?
Not very often.
That was the part that got me most frustrated.
Is it from like a Japanese show as well? Like
I think so.
It's where you got inspired from.
Yeah.
I know, Hunter, I'm disappointed in you too. You're not alone.
But
my son got really into it, and it was like a whole, and because it's like family friendly, right? So like you're all in there, like, all right, let's see, is it cake? And
Is it cake?
Such a simple concept, but
and then my son asked a good point, like, do they eat them? Is they eating these cakes? That was what he was waiting for. He was coming to the show about like, is it cake? We're all gonna eat cake. And I'm like, no, son, they just throw it away. And he's like, that's not okay, Dad.
That's wasteful.
Yeah.
Huge waste.
Phil, what are you watching?
Well, I'm very grateful that my wife, she only likes shows that are really messed up. So we only watch things that have to do with violence and murder and
true crime
and
true crime podcasts.
Right now we're watching Station 11, which is like on HBO, and it's kind of it was filmed during the pandemic, and you can kind of tell like it's all about a flu that takes over. And I don't know if you've ever watched that show, The Leftovers. The Leftovers was on HBO a few years ago, and it was like kind of this really messed up show that was kind of weird and quirky and artsy, and it was like, what is going on here? And they had all these weird characters and like these cults, and everybody was doing all these things. So it's cool. We finished Stranger Things a few weeks ago. But yeah, it's only true crime dramas. There's only anything on Netflix that we watched a documentary the other night about some yoga instructor who was like kind of a POS. I don't know what it was called.
Is it the one in California, like the big famous one?
Yeah, the big famous guy. So we were like looking up, because my wife, she on her way home from work, she listens to like podcasts about con artists. So she was like, I would love a really good con artist show. Like, so we looked up the list of like, she's like, I don't understand why these people always fall for it. So we
was it the Bikram guy, the Bikram yoga?
Yeah, that's it. So it's like
those are wild
an hour and a half movie. So it's only messed up shows at my house.
I know, we like those too. We watched like that Fire Festival, but there was the other one with the
that's a good one.
The Tinder Swindler was obviously another good one where I was like, I'm like, my wife was like, how are like these poor women? I'm like, why did no one talk to them about this?
You watched the lady con artist too, right?
The Anna one, like, you're so basic. Yeah, you're so basic.
Oh, the Anna Delvey or whatever.
Anna Delvey, yeah.
Isn't there like an HBO show called The Great Hustle or Hustle Something?
There was like a HBO Max show that had like a bunch of scam artists and stuff.
Yeah,
that was cool, but they had some interesting episodes on that. Yeah.
All of those, but I will say,
Inventing Anna was the show.
Yeah. To your point earlier about like overblown acting and like really bad acting, I was watching this show with my son the other day on Netflix called Floor is Lava. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And I was like, I was watching it. I was like, this is so bad. This is like one of the worst shows I've ever watched. And my son, I mean, he had never even heard of the concept of Floor is Lava. So like he was super into it. He was like, are they going to make it? And I'm like, dude, someone is always going to make it in every single episode. But I was just looking at I was looking at the acting and I'm like, oh, this is like, especially as you get older too, like I start feeling embarrassed. Like I'm watching it and I'm like, I'm feeling embarrassed right now because of how overacted this is and to try to generate that hype. So after like 5 episodes, I'm like, dude, we gotta turn this off.
Have you seen any from the second season yet?
Yes.
So the second season, they ramp up the intros on those people, and they are so over the top that you can't even handle it. Like the YouTube influencers are just ridiculous.
Well, I want American Gladiators to come back. Like, or Guts. You remember Guts on Nickelodeon? Temple. Right. I want the real game shows to come back. Make
or what about
what's great again? That is my platform right now.
What's the what was the show XQC, like Extreme
MXC?
Yeah,
MXC. Which is that was actually is based on it. Yeah.
Yes, that when that show came out, it was done with overacting, but it was like kind of tongue in cheek, and it was actually really funny.
Yeah, the
and when I was watching, it was like. Well, I always make this complaint, right? Like when I look at like British television, and I think I made this joke a few episodes ago. When you look at like British television and then you look at American television, so like Gordon Ramsay, right? You look at Kitchen Nightmares. He goes in there and he's like really gentle and sweet, and he's like teaching them. Like he's still kind of an asshole, but he's like he's still like teaching them how to cook. He's like being nice, but then they get to the American version, and it's like he's screaming at them, and there's all this drama. Or the Prime film, right? 28 Days Later. You watch 28 Days Later, and it's like really subtle, and it's like super good, and it's got these deep philosophical points. And then an American studio buys it out, and you look at 28 Weeks Later, and it's just same franchise, right? Just completely different. Yeah. It's just murder. People getting their there's like 4 scenes in a row with people getting their eyes gouged out.
Yeah,
like dude,
I never saw that one actually. 28 Days Later is a great movie, though.
Yeah, you're not missing much.
So
spare yourself.
I know we need to wind down, but have any of you seen the Channel 5 News Network on YouTube? It used to be called All Gas, No Brakes.
Yeah, All Gas, Brake.
Oh, yeah, All Gas, No Brakes.
That one guy.
The Andrew. Yeah.
So I hung out with Dr. Z this weekend, and he introduced me to this, and we straight up watched like 4 hours of this.
Oh, he's
And-
great.
It's pretty solid,
Have you seen?
dude.
Oh, that's one of the
So
best
blown
YouTube
away.
channels. I've watched them forever. The one that's my favorite thing about him is he's really like good at pulling people out. He kind of like he leads them with questions, but he's inquisitive in a way. And he showed both sides. He's not like indictive. Like he goes to a gun convention, right? And there's a scene where he's like looking down the barrel of a gun, and you see a responsible gun owner go, "Don't do that." Like he comes up and talks to him, "Please don't do that." And he has like an honest conversation, like, "No, if you want to learn how to use a gun, you should never do that." Like he's ever like, and he's like, "I didn't," he's like, well, he kind of messes with him again.
So
But he
based on our conversation here, going from like Hulu to Stranger Things to like all these different superhero movies, then to reality TV show, and now to Channel 5 News, I think we need to rename this segment "What's Wrong with America."
What's wrong? Well, hold on. I guess.
There's a lot.
There's so many.
There's
Good
that list to go on and on. But
Yeah. But that YouTube, his channel, he has another video that he always talks about. You had to pay for it, where he goes to Greek Row at the University of Alabama. And when you watch interviews of him, like, what's the most scared you've ever been? He goes, when I went to Greek Row in Alabama, he's like, there was like a wild, like, he's like, you could feel the tension. He said it was wild. So, because my favorite one is when he goes to the Talladega, and they're like, everyone wants to see their butthole. He keeps saying that. Yeah, like, what is going on with these people? But maybe want to go check out one of those races. Like,
That's what did it for you. That's
like, all right, gotta go. I gotta see this early
honey,
form
we
of
have
human.
to go to this race. I don't even like racing, but we have to go for this reason.
Just
Watch
for the people
show.
watching.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a whole lot of his stuff, but he was on an episode of Hot Ones like a while back that me and Evan just watched. I don't know if you guys know that YouTube channel
Yeah.
where they
Yeah.
interview celebs with all the different wings, flavors, and heat intensities. But yeah, he was on one of those recently, and it was pretty interesting. Kind of went into his creative process, and kind of like what you were saying. He tries to like be pretty open minded and kind of like play both sides and like hear both sides out without like trying to like cater towards any specific viewpoint. Kind of.
He's a local guy for us too. He's from Seattle. I don't know if you know that,
Yeah.
Shelby.
Oh,
He like was a high school
Okay.
dropout. Yeah, and he's an interesting dude. Well, Evan, Corbin, as we wrap it down, I want to thank you guys for coming on and talking to us about video games and everything in between. Where can people find more of your stuff and find you guys?
So our YouTube channel obviously is GamingBroductions. We're on Instagram under the same name. Our Twitter handle, I think, is it just G Productions?
GB Productions.
Yeah. I think Gaming Productions was taken or something. So
Squatters, how dare they?
Right.
Cool.
But yes, that's pretty much it. Thanks for having us as well. It's been a lot of fun.
Chatting with
Well,
all
we'd
you
love to have
boys.
you back in the future, and anytime you want to come on and
Absolutely.
talk about something like the worst video game characters, we're here for you to incite the violence.
Yeah, play bad games then, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Shelby?
Casey wants you to come back and give the top 5 pets of JRPGs, but they all have to be golden retrievers in some capacity.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, mine's
Yeah,
over
one.
here at the Cone of Shame.
Oh no.
She just got fixed. So that's why I was gone last week. They were giving me a hard time because I'm being a good dog owner. I'm like, hey, I got to stay up with this thing. But yeah.
It's nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Thanks, guys. That's right.
Thanks for being on with us tonight. If you're listening to this on an auto podcast, go out of your way and check out Gaming Productions. They got a YouTube channel. You heard about it. Our socials are in the attached description. We also have a Discord. Come in, chat with us. Also, we're on Twitch. Just an affiliate on TikTok. That's right. I said TikTok. We're YouTube short. If you're on a podcast, if you would kindly leave us a review, please do so. 5 stars would be so kind. That's a wrap for this week. We are out.
Play your games.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.